Today, I'm going to be teaching you how to print on fabric. It's really easy and it can elevate your projects in so many ways. We're also going to be decoupaging and using antique glaze to pull together all of our items. I'm Kathy with Waste.Not.Upcycled. I'm a full-time teacher and a part-time reseller and upcycler. All of today's projects were inspired by the July Sonnets Maker Box. It screamed antique and romantic, and I pulled everything together with a bathroom theme. Let's get started. Sonnet's Maker Box comes every month just hand-packed with love. It comes with 2 exclusive Grayslake decoupage papers, loving the romantic vibes on these, 2 painted photographer rice papers, and then she always puts in a napkin and Sweet Pickins milk paint, as well as 2 DIY samples and 2 fusion paints. This month's box definitely screamed bathroom vibes to me. So I had a perfect thrifted shelf that I wanted to go ahead and create. Really wanted to pull together this bath night picture and the botanical paper, and I was thinking I could go ahead and pull this off. I went ahead and cut this decoupage paper in half, and then to measure it out, I'm just going to go ahead and put it in place and very simply use my fingers to create the lines, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. So I cut out this decoupage paper, and then I also cut out the bath night picture. You might notice when I lay it down that I did cut off the mermaid tail. Now I saved that for another picture, but I felt like it wasn't going to fit quite right. Kind of deciding where exactly this is going to go, and I think it kind of looks better on the side. For today's video, I'm going to be using Mod Podge, and I'm out of my favorite, the Fusion, but Mod Podge works just as well. I'm going to go ahead and put down a couple lines at like a starter strip, and then I always mist my paper. By misting it, it helps it to kind of those fibers relax, and it helps it really to lay down smoothly. Now, I'm not super worried if there are any wrinkles, especially because this is going to have that older antique vibe, but you'll see. I do a little bit of rustling, and it's not even that big of paper, but I end up, and you can work with it. That's the nice thing about it. I end up kind of folding it in half, and that just makes it more manageable. And then I'm going to go ahead and then I'm going to lay down that Mod Podge, mist it as I go along, and then I will go ahead and lay it flat. As you can tell, Grayslake decoupage paper is really easy to work with. I'm able to lift it up, adjust it, and it's not ripping. I'm obviously, careful with it, but it's easy to work with. I love it. I usually smooth out my decoupage paper using my fingers, and then I'm going to apply the painted photographer's rice paper the same way, using the same method I did with the Grayslake decoupage paper. Now this paper is thicker. It's a rice paper, but I still spritz it, and then I'm going to go ahead and put down that decoupage medium and then just lay it down. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure all of these edges are secured. I'm actually going to go back in with glue and go over it and make sure it's secure. Now, it seems like a lot of glue, but I'm going to go back with a wet cloth and just dab and make sure all that extra is carefully taken off. Okay, we're getting there with this project, but I definitely have a couple more things that I need to do. So this is definitely needing to be antiqued up. We'll get back to that a little bit later, but I want to pull those flowers together. So I'm going to pull a couple blues to paint them with. Now, I've mentioned it before, when I'm not spoiling myself with paints, I like to go on Facebook and get free paint or Home Depot, the Oops area. So this one I got off of Facebook, and then the other small sample was from another Sonnet box. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of water, and just because I want it to have a thinner consistency, mix these up, and they're 2 different shades. I want the other one to be a little bit more white, so I'm going to mix in some white with that. And I think we're good to go. I absolutely love painting over decoupage paper. I feel like it gives a more natural look to that decoupage paper, and it just layers it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just painting each one of these different flowers, different shades of blue. And then I'm going to let it sit for a little bit. And I'm going to go back in with my cloth and then just kind of dab over it. I'm already loving how these blue flowers are pulling together with the bathtub. I definitely like when that vision kind of comes to life. Now, prior to painting this, I did let the decoupage paper dry. I think it probably would have been fine if it was a little bit damp. I would just need to be very careful to make sure I didn't rip it. So I'm just going to go ahead and touch this up here and there. It looks like it's coming along. Now, I do notice that the rice paper is standing out a little bit more. That's more antique, and the bathtub is more white. So I'm going to use some antiquing glaze, and I'm going to go over this just so it completely blends. And I'm also going to go over the decoupage, the recycled paper, so it ties it all together. The whole vibe that I'm going for is just this old, antique, kind of romantic looking shelf unit that can hang in a bathroom. So I'm just going to rough it up a little bit, make it look like it's been around for a while, put that glaze all over the picture. Now I'm just about finished, but the rest of this looks brand spanking new. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to apply the glaze, but before I do that, I'm going to use the black velvet DIY paint that came in Sonnet's box, and I'm just going to put it in different spots to kind of rough around those edges. Now it looks very bold, but it won't when I'm done. Now, after putting on all of these like black areas, I'm going to just go ahead and apply that glaze over the top of all of the front of it. Now, I'm purposeful as I put this glaze on. I'm going in all different directions. I don't want my paintbrush strokes to be like the same because I want it to kind of look older. And I feel like I want these black areas to be just in the crevices. So because it's a clay-based paint, when you add water to it, it reactivates, and I can go ahead and brush this off and make sure it's just in those crevices. Now, I let that glaze sit for a tiny bit, and I'm going to go ahead and brush it down. Now, when you're finished, that glaze should sit for a good, 12 to 24 hours before you apply a top coat. And I want to make sure that that glaze is in the crevices a little bit more so it looks even more antiqued. So I've pretty much wiped down all the front of it, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the same thing with all the sides and the back as well. After the project has sat for a little bit, I like to go back in and I like to kind of double check it and find any white spots, and then go back over with just a tiny bit of glaze in different directions. And this also roughs it up even more. So I'm spot checking it. Well, this project is just about finished. I'm going to let it sit overnight and then decorate it up. So what do you think? I can definitely picture this shelf in a bathroom above a bathtub. And I love the way Royce's paper and Connie's paper were able to be put together like they were meant to be together. For project 2, I'm going to be teaching you how to print on the fabric. Sonnet has just recently added digital press to her maker's box, and she hand creates all of these. They are amazing. So I'm going to print out that one and another one. As an easy way to print on fabric, you'll want to use temporary adhesive for fabric. I'll drop the link down below. cardstock paper, and then whatever fabric you choose. I'm using AT towel because I love this fabric. So you're going to go ahead and spray that adhesive onto the cardstock and put it flat onto your fabric. That adhesive is holding it snug to the paper when it goes through the printer. So make sure that it's on there good. And then go ahead and cut out your fabric. So I'm cutting it out to the exact size of that paper. When you feed this through your printer, you just want to make sure that the fabric is the part that's going to get printed on. And you download it just like you would print out a picture. You can print out Sonnet's awesome pictures. You can do your own photographs. Truly, the possibilities are endless with what you could print out. So I have this cute little canvas basket, and I decided I'm going to go ahead and put the fabric, part of it, onto this basket. This basket is going to go in the bathroom, and it actually holds toilet paper. I think it's like 2 rolls perfectly. Make it easier to cut. I'm keeping that cardstock on it, but it's going to peel right off. That adhesive is temporary. I'm loving this other one too. I have a lot of ideas for it. So I'm going to go ahead and peel it off. And I know already that I want the edges to be completely distressed. So I'm going to go ahead and do some magical distressing around all of the edges. I think that printing on fabric just can completely transform so many different projects. This can be used on like baskets or bags, decor pieces, on actual like furniture. There's so many different possibilities. I would love to hear your ideas of what you would use fabric for that's printed like this, or if you've done this before, what are some different projects you've used it on? So I'm just about finished fraying here. I use like a combination of my fingers or just the scissors and pull those threads out. I really want it to look frayed. I think that the 2 different textured fabrics are going to look really great together. Okay, unfortunately, I don't sew. I so wish I did, but this is an easy project. I'm going to use my cordless glue gun that I'm loving, and I'm going to go ahead and hot glue this on. It's not a piece that I'm worried it's not going to be going through the wash or anything, so I think hot glue will hold it on just fine. I did not iron my fabric prior to this, and that's simply because, well, number one, I don't like ironing, but also I kind of wanted to have that wrinkled, we're going for that antique vintage look, right? So I did not iron mine, but if you want yours flat, you can definitely iron any fabric that you choose. If you choose to do the method that I taught you today, you definitely want to make sure that you choose a thinner fabric and that it's really secured down to that cardstock so it doesn't jam into your printer. They do make inkjet fabric sheets. I just happen to have these items around my house and wanted to create my own, but there's lots of options for this. And yes, I own finger protectors for hot gluing. I just was kind of lazy and they weren't near me, but I do recommend them. Be sure to stay till the end to see how this project looks. Okay, this third project is a very simple one. I got this 2-tier tray, it's gold, at a garage sale for probably $1.50, and I just want you to see how milk paint can transform it. Now, milk paint just needs to be mixed with warm water, and I like to go ahead, it should be equal, and you guys, I'm not measuring it out, okay? So I should have measured it out, equal part, equal water, and then you stir it for a couple minutes, and then set it on the side for 10 or so minutes until it thickens up a little bit. So I let it thicken up, and I'm ready to go ahead and paint it. So milk paint is known for its unpredictability. It could chip, it could crackle. It does all different things, and that's what I absolutely love about it. I have never used a bonding agent, and it's something I'd like to go ahead and order and use, but I just haven't used it quite yet. But it's something that does help that milk paint to stick. So as you see, I'm going to go ahead and I'm applying one layer all over this tray. When it dries, I go back and I do a second layer every single nook and cranny. So I do a total of 2 layers. And I'm going for an old look, so I'm going in all different directions. I'm going to go ahead and let this dry for a few hours, and then once it's dry, I'm going to go ahead and sand it all around. I think I'm going to keep this very simple, not adding any other detail. I'm picturing it in a bathroom with soap on it and those fancy bathroom napkins. I think it'll look really cute. I definitely want pops of gold to be peeking through. So when you're out at the thrift store or garage sailing, just think about how easily different pieces can be transformed just simply putting paint on it. For our final project today, we're going to be transforming this mirror that I had gotten from the thrift store for a couple dollars, and I had already painted it white and distressed it. But I decided, as much as I love mirrors, that I wanted to turn this into a shelf sitter. So once again, I'm going to pull together the Painted Photographer's rice paper and Roycycle's Decoupage paper in this shelf sitter. Now, even though this has a mirror, you can go ahead and decoupage right over that. So I'm just going to use the same method and I'm measuring it out. I'm just being really careful to make sure I have the right measurements. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. And then I'm going to check it, and it looks like I wasn't careful enough, but with what I'm going to do with this, it's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to paint a white background on that mirror. I'm going to be using the white paint that came inside Sonnet's maker box. And basically, if you want your rice paper or you want your decoupage paper to pop out, then use a light color behind it. That'll really pull out the colors. I fluctuate. If I want kind of a moody piece, I have something dark in the background. It just really depends on the mood you want to bring out. But this one, I definitely want to pop out. I'm going to freshen up a little bit the wood and just give it a little bit of paint around the edges. Okay, so my paint has dried, and then I'm going to go ahead and add on my papers. I love the story behind this one. Connie is right-handed, but she drew this with her left hand. Unbelievable. So basically, she can draw with both her left and right. She's such an artist. I am left-handed, and there's no way I could come anywhere near this beautiful picture. So I love the story behind that. As you saw, I did what's called fussy cutting, and I just cut around it. I didn't distress it or anything like that. And I'm going to go ahead and spritz this with water and then go ahead and apply it with my Mod Podge. So if you have not yet watched the other creators who are inspired by Sonnet's July Maker Box, I'm going to put the link down below. There are a handful of amazing creative women who take the box and share their ideas. It is so fun to watch and just see all the different things that people come up with. So be sure to click on that link below and enjoy yourself and do some fun binge watching. I also want to share, if you are not yet receiving Sonnet's Maker Box, she has all different options available. So this box is the full box, which I absolutely love. I'm going to put a link down below for her boxes, and I highly recommend checking that out. It's an affiliate link, so I do get a little bit back from that, but it is something that I highly recommend. Okay, as you saw, I went ahead and I'm adding on the decoupage paper, trying to figure out exactly which direction I wanted to lay. As I lay that down, this is my view. My boys had bought me flowers for Mother's Day, and I dried out those flowers in my little she shed, and I was actually inspired by those as I do this project. So I decided I'm going to put these on, and then I'm going to do everything in different shades of pink, including the bird. I just wanted it to be kind of just all different pinks, and then I'll decide if I want anything else from there. Once all of my papers were laid down, I set this on the side. I typically work on a couple projects at the same time, and then I come back to it when it's completely dry and pull all my different shades of pink. And I'm just going to go ahead and paint onto these different rice papers and decoupage papers. You'll notice that I'm just using different color pinks, and then I go back with a cloth and I'm going to be blotting them as well, just like I did with my other one. I decided to go back in with kind of a mint green, and I'm going to hit all the leaves with this color. One of my favorite sayings is, it's okay to color outside of the lines. I have a poster in my classroom I used to hang that said that. I have it hanging up in one of my booths by my crayon area. I put it on all of the sticker boxes for my crayon craft creations. And I just love that idea, like, you don't have to stay inside the lines. And that is something that's pretty profound for artwork, right? Like, and literally, I don't have to stay in the lines. It's okay if it's going to kind of bleed through. And I think that's the same for life. So I just thought of that saying as I was painting. So I'm now going to go back in with that Fusion Antiquing Glaze and paint it in all different directions. After this sits for a little bit, I'll wipe it down, and then I am out of my big top. So I am going to go ahead and order my big top. All of my projects are going to actually be sealed with that big top today. I'm just going to wipe down this project, and it's just about wrapped up. So here's the final reveal of those antique romantic thrifted pieces for the bathroom that were inspired by Sonnet's July box. Thanks so much for taking the time to watch. I would love for you to comment below on your favorite piece or what you might do differently. If you are not yet a subscriber, I also would love it for you to hit that subscribe button. I'm excited for next week. I'm going to be sharing a fun thrift flip, items that were sent to me that I have to take and recreate into projects. I have not even opened up that box yet. I'm excited to see what's inside. I'm also excited to share that the Waste.Not.Upcycled.com website has gone live. You'll be able to find my custom crayons for gifts and party favors, home decor, and then some of the projects I've created on YouTube. Thanks again for watching.